Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Hope everyone out there is staying safe. We'll begin our open session this evening by asking for approval of the agenda. Any additions or deletions? Any disclosures of interest
I had
this
an
evening?
addition, Dave.
Oh,
You have
sorry.
the 3 additions.
Yeah, and there's 3
Three
on the
additions
phone.
at the end, yes.
I was just looking for a budget update, just a general timeline type thing.
Those 3 items are unfinished business, council.
Yeah, so put that one down there.
Yeah,
Unfinished business.
unfinished
Committee of the whole?
business. Committee of the whole, sure. Anything else? Any disclosures of interest this evening? We have no delegations. Resolution number 183-20, moved by Councillor Mullen, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that the minutes of the council and committee of the whole meeting held June 23rd, 2020 be accepted as circulated. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Resolution number 184-20, moved by Councillor Stafuric, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that the minutes of the special council meeting held July 9th, 2020 be accepted as circulated. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Resolution number 185-20, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Mullins, that council approve the expenditure request and approval to proceed from the Ontario Clean Water Agency for filter maintenance parts, scaffold system for filter maintenance, and anthracite in the amount of $4,282.67, including applicable taxes. All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Resolution number 186-20, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Stafuric, that the Council of the Township of Schreiber support the resolution of the City of Brantford regarding the proclamation of March 17th as Essential Workers' Day. All those in favor? Thank you. Resolution number 187-20, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Mullins, that bank debts paid out of the general bank account in the month of May 2020 in the amount of $31,421.93 be approved and ratified. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
How often do we see, is it okay to ask a question in regards to that Ontario Clean Water Agency fee? How often do we see that on that statement there?
Monthly.
Every month.
Every month it's in that neighborhood?
Yep.
Okay.
Resolution number 188-20, moved by Councillor Stafuric, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that checks issued on the general bank account in the month of June 2020 in the amount of $319,179.26 for general accounts payable be approved and ratified. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Resolution number 189-20, moved by Councillor Morrow, seconded by Councillor Mullins, that bank debits issued on the general bank account in the month of June 2020 in the amount of $47,512.82 for payroll be approved and ratified. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Resolution number 190-20, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Stafuric, that council direct administration to vest the property known as 5851-000-003-17100 as per the rules outlined in the Municipal Act 2001, and that council declare the property as a surplus asset to be disposed of. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Resolution number 191-20, moved by Councillor Mullins, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that council accept the quotation from New Steel Door Systems in the amount of $5,324, excluding applicable taxes, for the installation of a new overhead door at 211 Scotia Street. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Resolution number 193-20, moved by Councillor Stafuric, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that council approve the contribution.
192.
192? I'm sorry. 192. Resolution number 192-20, moved by Councillor Stafuric, seconded by Councillor McGrath, that council approve the contribution of $1,000 per year for the years 2020, 2021, and 2022 to the North Shore Tourism Coordinator position. All those in favor? Thank you. Carried. Resolution number 193-20, moved by Councillor Mullins, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that Resolution 178-20 is rescinded in its entirety. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Resolution number 194-20, moved by Councillor Mullins, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that council authorize a donation to the Northern Cancer Fund in the amount of $50 in memory of Henry Hosanna. All those in favor? Carried.
That was 193, that one,
I missed.
no, 193. Yeah, you missed that one.
I picked up two
Yeah.
notes from,
It's my fault when I dropped all the papers.
No, it was clipped to the back of it.
Oh.
I got stuck.
so that was for the,
That was for the second part of rescinding resolution 178.
oh, okay. So then that should be resolution number, was that right before this one?
Yeah, so that should be 194, this one becomes 195.
Okay.
Sorry.
Read this out.
Yep.
Resolution number 194-20, moved by Councillor McGrath, seconded by Councillor Stefuric, that council authorize the write-off of property taxes in the amount of $5,328.73 due to 2019 taxation year vacancy rebate applications. All those in favor? Carried. So now we're going to 195. Sorry, we'll have to go through this again. Resolution number 195-20, moved by Councillor Mullins, seconded by Councillor Morrow, that council authorize a donation to the Northern Cancer Fund in the amount of $50 in memory of Henry Hosanna. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. And our condolences to Henry's family. That'll bring to a close our council portion of the meeting, and we'll move into committee of the whole. The first part of the Director of Operations report, the Drummond Street sump.
Here's a recommendation from the Director of Operations to purchase and install a sump and catch basin for the cost of $2,751.10.
Is that our property that it would go on? Or is it his?
It's right on the very edge. There's a sewer line there, so we can't have it too close to it, to this side of the street anyways in that place.
So is this something we would normally do if water gets in people's yards? Like if I complain that I get too much water in my yard, do I get a sump?
Well, if it happens every year consistently, yes.
Yes, okay.
And I think, I don't know if he's had water in his basement yet, or if he...
Well, he's telling me he has a little bit
Yeah.
each year in the last little while, so.
I mean, I've seen the property every year. It gets flooded pretty good.
Yeah. Well, the garage looks a lot higher, so. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, the garage is fine now.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions on that? Everybody okay with that then? Okay. Second one is the sewer plant vacuum truck.
There's a recommendation here to authorize Aqua to hire a vacuum truck in the amount of $5,372.93 to clean out and maintain the second clarifier at the wastewater treatment plant.
Any questions on that?
They don't have equipment like that, Aqua,
No.
that they use elsewhere
Not,
for the same purpose.
yeah, not that I'm aware of.
So is this
No,
like,
it's
just
not
like
a
a
vacuum truck.
like a septic truck to?
Pretty
suck
much,
it?
it's gonna literally vacuum
Yeah.
all that dried up sludge or whatever is in there.
So that's probably a few trips to the drying beds, is that where they bring that stuff? Or-
Is there a reason this happened?
Red can get into the details.
That clarifier broke down last, March before last, actually. It took us a considerable amount of time to get parts, and the sludge that was in it at the time all settled to the bottom, got hard, so they had to clean it out before they can start the clarifier. There's a large arm in the bottom of it
Okay.
that keeps things rotating and moving.
Yeah, yeah.
If it gets stuck in there, they try to turn it on, it's gonna break it off, so they have to clean it out first.
Okay.
Is that a specialized piece of equipment then? Where would that be coming from?
But
Vacuum truck?
that particular truck, I believe, just comes from Marathon.
Oh, it's just the pumper truck?
I think it's just a
Yeah, it's a-
pumper truck.
So he's gotta make a few trips then?
Oh, probably 10 or so.
Right.
Okay.
Pretty much has to be done, right?
Yeah, it's the final
Yeah,
step
just-
of that, I guess.
I was just wondering if it was preventable, but obviously not.
Water main flushing.
Is another staff recommendation for Aqua to inspect hydrants and valves and complete hydrant flushing and valve exercising at the cost of $10,000.
Is that something that's done every year?
It hasn't been for several years.
Oh,
but it's
several years,
getting
okay.
time to do it, so.
Yeah, okay.
I would,
Leave it too much longer, it's gonna
Yeah, so it's just
get the water starting to
maintenance.
taste a little.
I would for the price of it, you can't go wrong, because been there, done that. I would kind of hold off a bit, like we've been spending, like I want to get it done this year, in September or something, but.
Did they say when they were gonna do it, Red?
I was hoping for the week of the 24th of August.
I just wanted to check
Scheduled
against,
it as such.
I just wanted to check against our water and sewer budget. That's all, we seem to be doing a lot there, and I just don't want to go crazy over.
I thought that water main flushing was done annually by the township.
Oh, that's,
Flush the
Something
sewers-
different?
Flush the sewers annually, we don't get the whole system.
Right.
It's kind of spotty, so this
Right.
way here, it's called unilateral flushing.
How long
Starts
does
at
it
one
take
end of the
to-
system and works right to the other end of the system.
Oh, yeah.
oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. So this is a good price.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So are you okay with that for the end of August, or do you wanna push it into September?
No, I'm okay for it at the end of August. My concern is I just don't want the water and sewer going up
No.
crazy. I just want it double.
Yeah.
That's all. No, I mean, $10,000 is a good price.
Okay. Anybody else, everybody else all right with that?
How long is it gonna take them to do it?
It should take approximately a week.
And there'll be notices to that effect.
They'll put
Yeah.
out some notices, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty, community economic development, cottage lot development. Any questions on that?
Are you doing a presentation?
Yeah, I'll just do a brief
Sure.
synopsis of
Okay.
it. So the
Can see you there.
Yeah, you can see. The cottage lot development idea has surfaced in the office quite a few times. Getting a project plan kind of together to relay all the steps that would kind of need to be required in order to do the early planning. So this will be looking to survey 12 cottage lot properties along Assessor's Drive onto Beach Road area to develop a registered cottage lot subdivision. The scope of work technically would be looking to have an engineering firm hired to have the land surveyed with an optional cost of having the land cleared for lot development. So our process would entail going to getting quotes done by a couple engineering companies to get the land surveyed, and then they can have the lots cleared either in their costs or have it as a separate quoting process. And the long-term development plan would just have to be developed in coordination with council as well as various departments, such as admin, finance, economic development, public works, and bylaw if we need any sort of thing developed. So with regards to preliminary costings that we did get from one engineering company on behalf of Red providing me with that information. On the cost section, to have the registered plan developed by an engineering firm, it would come to $30,555 plus HST. And the optional cost of having the lots cleared and having the lots ready for development, as these lots would not become serviced, would be $21,895 plus HST on top of that.
So the idea of clearing the lots, you're just talking, are you talking about selective clearing, you're talking about boundary, just the boundaries clear?
So it would be setting the stage of how big each lot space would be, so essentially you're clearing the vegetation.
Boundaries.
And the boundary, yeah. You're making the boundaries of each lot and then the space that would be in between, and then
Your sight lines.
Yeah.
Your,
Just the, so just the boundaries? Is that what you said? Just the boundaries for the survey? Not actually clearing the lots? Okay, so,
At least that way you'd be able to identify 5 from 6 and
Yeah.
et cetera, because there's a.
yeah, when I first read this, I thought, okay, are we getting?
yeah, you don't want to go in there and.
I know Robert, when we took Robert for a drive, he suggested that we do some selective clearing of the lots to open up the view, so if anybody's exploring the lots, they would have some idea of what kind of view they would be getting on any specific lot. So I thought that was a good idea. It's pretty, the undergrowth there is pretty heavy right now, so.
Yeah.
That could be pretty costly just the same.
Well, yeah, and I mean, that would be something that would have to be considered if it's worth it, or.
We'd also need, right, tree clearing at some point around the Discovery Center, so
Yeah,
could be something to tie in.
Right.
We should keep a list of where we need trees cleared.
and the other question I had was, are these cottage lots gonna be just off the grid lots? Is there gonna be some plan to bring hydro down there? How difficult would that be? How costly? Is that something that was in your plan, or?
just to have the lots serviced, or they wouldn't be serviced there, and then would you say, Red, to have any part of it
I did
brought in
not.
hydro?
I didn't do any research into hydro.
No, we still haven't got there yet,
Yeah.
but with regards to determining that, we'd have to show this plan to Hydro, and they would give us a quote for connecting it, which, to put it into perspective, right, the connection cost for the Discovery Center, just to get our museum online, was about 10 grand, so I'd imagine it would be quite pricey.
Yeah.
To run a pole line down there, or underground line? Yeah, it wouldn't be cheap.
Museum was a bit of a unique circumstance, so you have to get that line right underneath the water and all like that.
Right.
Typically, I think for one pole or something, I think it was around 4 grand.
Yeah, I think.
And that was the original price.
So is that something that we will consider as council in the future, then?
I would think so.
Yeah,
You know,
okay, so it's just another step
Yeah.
from where we are now.
Part of this project is to do it full circle to determine the feasibility. We need to determine what, after putting in all these costs, right, all our input costs,
Right.
are we gonna, get anything at the end, or at least we should recoup all our investment, should we, sell those lots in the future. So that's gonna be part of the project, is to determine what all these input costs are to determine the budget for the project. And then we know the starting point for, selling it. And if the selling point for those lots is gonna be, really outweighing the input costs, then we know that the project is not gonna be feasible unless maybe we put in a lot more cottage lots. Usually it's, economies of scale with how a lot of these kind of real estate development companies and all, right, how they work around building subdivisions and all like that. So you get better bang for the buck with likely the more
Right.
homes you put in.
Yeah. More or less with 12's not big enough, maybe go to the 24 route. We had actually talked to the planner again too about it.
That's ultimately what it is. If you want to put in a hydro line, right, there would have to be a lot more to warrant
Well, I
that
mean, and
expense.
that's gonna be a tough, with the road the way it is now, it's gonna be a tough sale to,
Yeah, because it will be seasonal.
so, I mean, they're all things we gotta talk about before we go spend any.
Yeah, the other part is the market, is there a market for
It
it?
seems
Any
to me,
article.
I added the acreage up there of the 12 lots, and I believe it's somewhere in the neighborhood of about 25 to 30 acres in total, which is a lot of territory,
Yeah.
but anyway.
I've been reading articles on, because of the COVID and all that, 25% of the Toronto area are reaching out and buying
Remote cottages.
cottages and remote land, down this way as much as
Yeah,
down that way too, just, and they're working from home. I
Yeah.
mean, we still gotta work on our internet,
Yeah.
but
yeah, so the market is far reaching, it's not just locally.
well,
Could-
this
Could be in major cities in Ontario.
oh, the
or-
COVID, any articles I've read,
Yeah.
COVID's really getting people interested in small town.
Yeah. And I know Robert said he already had somebody that was interested,
Yeah.
before we even did anything, so.
That's, a key point there is, in terms of any property, it's going to be a lot more attractive to people if we have any property that has that lake view. Is just something to keep in mind whenever we're planning. That lake view is worth quite a bit for people to say that, they have a view of Lake Superior, or are able to quickly get a view of Lake Superior, as in this case.
Well, Doug and I went up there and tromped around there last year. I don't know if anyone else did, but the views up there are incredible. Like, you're looking right down Schreiber Peninsula there, and the west side of Schreiber Point.
Could be
That's
very
gorgeous.
impressive.
I think the potential's there, like how many times do you hear, oh, you live in a beautiful area and all, we just take it for granted.
Yeah.
And,
True.
Well, this certainly is a step, and I think we're all in agreement that we need to do what we can to move this forward. But there again, finances are gonna dictate a lot, right? At least we have some numbers in front of us, and we can continue to discuss it.
So what's the next step
That's what I was
then?
about to ask, what's the next step?
Yeah.
What would be the
What
next?
do you feel the next step is? Do we need to get them surveyed?
Yeah, I think that they should be surveyed, to kind of get some more specifics, but yeah, definitely, more of a long-term plan needs to kind of be developed to get everything costs associated, and then like, again, if we're gonna want a return on our investment into this project, deciding on like the cost factors that we have to implement to kind of get that way.
Exactly. I mean, what we need to see is a project that indicates the return on investment, right? This is how much money we're gonna put in to kind of seed this project, and how much money are we gonna get back? We have to take into account the sale prices and the potential property taxes on this property. Also keeping in mind if, the kind of liabilities in the sense of, are they gonna request, is there gonna be pressure from these homes for year-round
Access. yeah.
access? Are they gonna, request pressure for the hydro line, right? So all these
I would
things,
say
all these
that's
puzzle pieces have to be put together to see if we have a properly feasible project, because it's, any sort of real estate development is big money, big risk.
Would there be any funding opportunity?
For this kind of project, not likely, not likely.
Not unless you found a private.
Would there, yeah, I was just gonna say, would there be a developer out there?
That would be perfectly ideal.
Yeah.
It's a lot of,
I don't, you gotta think that, I mean, you're talking economic development within the township. You mean to tell me there's not a source of funding for something like that? There has to be. You would say.
Not government funding, but maybe private funding. yeah.
private sector funding, definitely. You're gonna be looking at, right, this is again bigger in, southern Ontario municipalities where getting a whole, really it's the whole subdivision planning process where the municipality is only involved in working with the developers. Developers will take care of the whole process. The municipality just sits here and looks at the developer's plan, right, and comes up with, okay, I want to get these many parks here, I want to get this here. We look at the development charges because you're going to be putting in all these extra pipes and they're all going to be connected. Over here, we don't even, charge development charges at all because we want to be attractive for business. So it's going to be very tricky there's some certain areas where it goes to grant funding where it's really difficult to find grants. That being said, there's a lot of grants that we have which are open for that kind of investment, but there's still other priorities where we want to get access with regards to funding, especially for our wastewater and water. That's if we're going to get any funding anywhere, that's certainly where we want to get it. Right, with the dechlor was substantial.
Yeah.
That was like about $1 million that we would need to do that.
So if we put this project together in a package and sent it out to the private sector,
The developer.
to see if there's any interest, I mean, we should be able to get information on who would be able to take on a project like this.
Right, yeah.
Send it out and see what kind of feedback we get.
Yeah.
I feel like for a developer, they'd want to do it as a full project to actually build the cottages on those lots too.
Right.
But you would think that they would do all the work to ensure that they're not gonna build anything if they don't have people who are actually interested in buying it.
If they're not gonna get any return on their investment,
Then they're not gonna do it.
No.
Right.
So, be
Like,
interesting.
yeah, that's, put a whole package together
Yeah.
and see what.
And then that's right. You know what? That makes sense. If we can get a private developer who's interested in taking this on, we can certainly try. And if not, along the way, we can find out the reasons why they wouldn't want to take it on. And then we may know some risks that we might have not anticipated.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think before we put the package or anything together, we gotta get together as a group
Yeah.
and with our planner and decide, like, we can't even go get it surveyed. We gotta decide whether it's 12, 24, 36, or if we went with this number, is that gonna meet the zoning, what we're thinking about? And
Right.
like, we gotta have a little more
Yeah.
Prep work.
meetings amongst
Yeah.
ourselves before we even, which is great, before we even spend a dime,
Yeah.
and
No, you're
decide
right.
where we wanna be with it.
We
And
have to have meetings on just cottage lot development.
correct,
Right. Okay. any
That's
other
my
questions
thought,
for
I am.
Tom, or- Okay. That's, what we'll do next then, is get some meetings together and decide, where we go from here.
Well, at least we got it off the ground. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
You
right.
know?
That's right. All righty.
Thanks.
Yeah, Thanks, Tom.
No problem.
Thanks.
Next up is our bylaw enforcement report.
Like too much of the Gatorade. People are gonna think their YouTube video timed out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's frozen.
So how far is people from Toronto coming north looking for property?
All over the place, they say.
Yeah. And you're
Probably more down that way, but
Yeah.
they're up in Timmins and
Yeah.
all over.
Oh, you're right, in this day and age, you can, if you have the proper technology in place or internet capability, you can work from anywhere.
Mhm.
I know one guy, there's a guy from Toronto who bought in Rossport, big house on the hill there. And there's at least one or two others that are doing all their work from Rossport. And the internet there is not that great.
I think they get ExploreNet,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, it's ExploreNet.
Yeah.
If you get your retirees that, I mean, the COVID not woke a lot of people up, but COVID is,
Changing things, yeah.
small town life's not that bad.
Yeah, that's right.
You
Somebody
know?
said, I lived in a small town
You look at-
all my life, it's gonna save me from getting COVID.
You look at Schreiber, there's, you know, geez, none of them towns had any cases.
Yeah,
You know, let's look more into them,
yeah.
you know.
Okay, any questions on the bylaw officer report? Then the next one up is the amendment to the municipal compliance solutions by the bylaw enforcement. Any questions on that?
It's just updating this thing.
Oh, there's a recommendation here to go with, to accept the proposal from Municipal Compliance Solutions to draft a new bylaw to replace the existing parking and traffic enforcement bylaw of 8826. Again, with regards to this consultant who's been helping us, actually has provided a lot of value-added services and has been, quite exceptional with regards to coaching and providing that experience to our bylaw enforcement officer, because there's so many variables and in-depth kind of areas where, while on our side we may, think of creating a policy, but in this case, this consultant is also another bylaw officer and is able to, again, suggest how the wording should be with these bylaws in order to put in proper wording that's able to be effective, especially when it's if it's taken to court or challenged, that the municipality has the short form wording and all that makes sense. So that's where I think the value comes from with regards to having this consultant, because in our case here, it's going to be, it's easy enough to copy another bylaw from another community, but when it comes to the implementation part, having that kind of idea of how it can be implemented is where we get value for the consultant.
What sort of serious issues have arisen in terms of parking and traffic? Super serious?
Good question. Good question.
But this, again, you don't have to get into it, I guess. But, so the new one will allow her to address it,
Yes, like,
much like the other bylaw,
Yes.
the property standards one?
exactly, because the older one from '88 is so outdated that it's time that we moved on to something recent and, you know,
Yeah.
in line with other municipalities' bylaws at this modern period.
Okay.
Like you used the words parking infraction. Well, that's you know, there's all sorts of parking infractions, I guess. What's a good example? I mean, it's
Blocking a crosswalk, parking in the middle of the street.
Parking in the
Yeah,
wrong way is
you
a
know.
common one.
Fire hydrants.
And
Fire
basically,
hydrants.
parking too many vehicles on the street.
yeah, yeah.
You know, there's lots of that, but
So it's basically just to update it, I guess, you know, the request is, it costs us $1,000 to have it updated so that,
How long does that take?
It should take, maybe we get a draft done where it's gonna be,
20 hours.
yeah, 20 hours, but that's at least the consultants were, but it's like spread
Yeah.
out, right? So
An hour a
An
day.
I
But-
feel that the consultant actually provides many more hours than
Okay.
what he suggests with our calls going back and forth.
At the end of the bylaw, like the land maintenance bylaw, is there going to be, like, to save us, hopefully to save us from going to court?
Yep.
Is there going to be set fines?
Exactly, there will be, and that's really the key point here is that he will be registering all those set fines and everything with the province, so we won't have to go through that process.
Sounds good.
everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, next up, the Schreiber Volunteer Fire Department activity reports for May and June. Any questions of the chief?
I know John's looking for some derelict vehicles
Yes,
for training purposes, right?
yeah, we've got 4 right now, we're looking for 14 total.
Oh, okay.
So if anybody wants to get rid of some, we're gonna be towing them around tomorrow. We've got a crew of 3 or 4 guys and some tow dollies, and we're gonna be hauling vehicles out to the dump, where we're gonna set them up for a auto extrication course that's taking place in early September.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, we've got trainers coming up from southern Ontario, and we're gonna have 2 days of cutting up cars out at the garbage dump.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think to be that hard to find.
Yeah.
Not touching.
Not gonna name names.
Yeah, but I guess, yeah, if anybody's looking to get rid of some vehicles, just give you a call.
That's right. As long as they're, you know, we can roll them around and
Yeah.
and they've got at least a couple wheels on them,
Yeah.
and we're interested.
Yeah.
Have you touched base with the bylaw officer?
We've discussed that a little bit back and forth, yes.
Okay. Okay, any other questions for the chief? Okay, so I guess the last 3 reports are the Aqua, monthly reports for water and wastewater and sewer treatment. Any questions on either of any of those reports? Okay, then, question period,
No questions?
no questions. Communications, anything you'd like to touch on there?
Number 5?
Yes, Christmas tree. The tree that's out front of the
Yeah.
complex, yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well,
want-
one of our things is, like, there's nothing here at the town office. I mean, that was kind of why we I mean, there's not much of anything yet either. I mean, but we put a flower pot out there, and we just want to give it some color whenever we get a chance. And we thought, let's put some Christmas tree lights like on it, and
On the blue spruce there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we're not going to be able to do it because that's a big tree. So, and I think somebody said there was lights on it, but I mean,
That's what killed the other one.
they left them on it. So if you put them on it and take them off, yeah.
We'd have to rely on our ladder truck or
Yeah.
someone to help us out. But I mean, well, what's everybody's feeling? You think it's a good idea?
I think it look nice.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's always nice to have the
Is there a
town
plug
lit
up there?
for sure.
Is there a plug up there?
We had the other one lit up.
Oh, so there should be.
Must be something up there, eh? Probably plug-ins, because it used to be a school.
Corey, I'll stand in the lower here. Corey, just lift me up.
Yeah.
I mean, and
I think it's a good idea. We'll do it.
Yeah, I agree, it's a good idea.
Yep. Everybody okay with that? You okay with buying some lights?
yeah,
Okay. Very good. We'll brighten up our complex here.
All right, done.
Any other communications you want to speak to?
I just have a question on number 2. It looks like Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing creating a new investment attraction agency called Invest in Ontario. Do you know anything about that, Nathan, or is that something that we'll hear more about in the future?
That's something hopefully we'll hear about more in the future. We're going to be having a few meetings with our, I think it's our provincial economic development, what do we say, coordinators, kind of regional coordinators here. So there's a meeting on Friday where we can bring this up. But there's so many things going on in there. It took the time to look at all the changes. Key ones there is that the municipal councils and local boards may choose to meet electronically on a permanent basis. And municipal councils may choose to have proxy voting for their members. And another thing that affects us is that, well, directly, is that marriage license validity will be extended beyond 90 days of issuance to 24 months after the declaration of the end of the declaration of emergency. So quite a substantial period that they're allowing it to be valid for.
Okay, interesting stuff.
Big document.
The other thing I had was a number 4 DSAP, and this is just, I'm just curious about what they were talking about, but do you know anything about the board, OPP detachment boards? They had sent a letter off saying they didn't want to be part of that, or they didn't want to be a board. That's
Yeah, someone had approached them about becoming, the DSAP would be becoming a police board.
yeah,
And that's what they said they don't want anything to do with.
yeah. Why would they even consider being
Yeah,
part of
that,
that?
I forget the background on that, why they approached.
AMO had
DSAP.
something to do with it because they were sending a letter off to AMO.
Yeah, because there was too many police boards, and like the health boards, the province was looking at reducing them.
Right.
And I think one of the ideas was, well, maybe the DSAP would,
Take on that
Yeah.
role and
they don't want anything to do with it
Right,
now.
yeah.
Just, we could, I can get a hold of Jody and ask him for
Jody
further
might have more
information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just was curious. I see
Yeah.
it.
Well, I can do that, Dan.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, Dave.
Anything else then under communications? So we go into unfinished business. I guess the first thing, we already dealt with that.
Not under budget update.
Oh, budget update request, yes.
So, yeah, I'm just wondering, because obviously the bills didn't go out. So are we notifying the citizens that you won't be getting a tax bill? Because some people might budget specifically for their quarterly payments or whatever, so.
Or when they can expect to receive.
And due to the situation, the budget, blah, 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 hasn't been passed. This is,
Yep. I'll speak with the treasurer to get that,
yeah.
an update on that. I can send.
Because I've just had questions like,
Mhm.
where's my tax bill?
Yep. No,
Yeah.
certainly, I can get an answer and
Yeah.
forward it to council.
Yeah, because I would assume there will be questions,
Mhm.
like, am I gonna have to pay everything that's left out in one payment? Like, I think people are gonna be
Exactly.
confused and worried, because
That's right, yes.
it's, those quarterly payments, if that's what you do, they're not small.
Yep.
Well, normally there's the end of July deadline and then the end of September.
Right.
So there's
Yeah.
still a few days to work with, but not
No,
very long.
Yeah, I know. Okay, that's all.
Sounds good.
Okay.
We'll do.
Thank you.
Okay, then, we don't have any other business. The September meeting schedule. I would assume we'll go back to the second and fourth Tuesdays.
Right, I'll just be off for that week there. I'd suggest that we do the 15th and 29th. We actually have 5 Tuesdays in September.
Ah,
That's gotta be a record.
yeah. Is that okay with everybody then, the 15th and 29th? That would be the 3rd and 5th, right?
Sure. I have to check my plan.
Yeah.
That's 5 weeks down the road there from the August 11th date,
Yeah.
August 11th.
Should there be anything that comes for a special council meeting, we'll
Yeah.
certainly get it covered.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's all right with that, then, we have to move to 196-20. Moved by Councilor Morrow, seconded by Councilor Mullins, that the closed meeting now resume at this time. All those in favor? Carried, thank you, and thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. Please stay safe out there.